Let me go across to Mohammed. Mohammed, any idea on how many people have now signed up to the petition so far?
I think we're close to 800 or 900, and this isn't like generic public outreach. So most of these, I'm assuming, are genuine startups who are worried about what's happening. Because this doesn't just go beyond, we're worried, we're entrepreneurs, we're focused on building our businesses, and this isn't just going to the companies. The corporate veil is threatened to be broken, where the taxman can just say, look, I'm going to come after your assets. That's very scary for us, right?
Mr. Malpani, is it going to deter people like you, investors like yourselves, angel investors, from putting in more money into the startup ecosystem until and unless we see these clarifications come in from the government?
Shereen, you're so absolutely right. You think of yourself as being an angel investor, as being a good guy who's going to do stuff for the country because you're helping entrepreneurs to fulfill their dreams. And then when you have all this paperwork burden, even though you've complied with all the rules, you file your income tax return, this is money which you post-tax income which you have generated, and then to have to deal with all this stuff becomes extremely hard. It's hard enough being an angel investor because, as you know, most money doesn't come back, not because the entrepreneur's a bad entrepreneur, but that's the nature of the beast. And then have to deal with all this stuff is, I think, not a good signal which this country is sending to the entire entrepreneurial ecosystem, which is a bit of a shame.
Shashi, very quickly, you said that this is a weapon of mass destruction in the hands of the tax authorities. If we don't see these clarifications come in, how much of a hit is it going to be for the startup movement in India?
Oh, quite significantly. I mean, it's quite demoralizing to have these kind of notices. And as the other speakers pointed out, it's a waste of time. The focus on the business gets lost. It's just something which is not done. I think this will affect the startup movement in a very significant way.
Vidya, a quick word from you. I mean, are you getting calls from harried startups, people who have been served with assessment orders and demand notices? What's your own sense on what impact this is going to have?
Yeah, I mean, it significantly brings down the morale of the startups who want to go and raise money. And more importantly, domestic investors, we've always been hankering that we don't have enough domestic investors, and then this is very, very discouraging for domestic investors, be it UHNI or new funds that want to form and invest in startups, all right? And this doesn't send great news outside of India when everybody is excited about investing in India and the tech startup that's coming out of here, all right? So in all counts, the startups are demoralized and doesn't send great message to FDI investors as such,
Okay. Nikunj, you said that 50 lakhs is the demand notice slapped on you, along with the possibility of penalty. By when do you need to pay this up? And, what is it done to your business having to deal with this?
So, Shereen, before I answer that, I just want to say that the number of the supporters has crossed 1,300 by my last count. Okay. And it's actually building up. It's something which people really don't empathize with because they think that startups are all, people who have these zillions and billions. But they don't realize that those are the few unicorns. For every one unicorn, you have 100 such people like us who are struggling to actually, make a mark for themselves. And as far as we are concerned, what happens is that when there is a tax liability of this amount and that, sword hanging, it does scare away potential investors who are actually interested in coming into the company. And it actually, leads to attachment of bank accounts. We've actually, we are supposed to pay this money by this month end. And, if we have to go for appeal also, we have to deposit 20% of the amount. I mean, startups cannot really block that kind of money for ages. And, the broken, appeal system. I mean, it takes years for us to get a positive judgment, if at all.
Yeah. Nakul, I'm going to end this with you. How worried are you? I mean, at iSpirit, you've been part of this nurturing movement for Startup India. How worried are you today in the context of what we're hearing on this program and from startups?
What is currently happening is definitely very worrying because the startup ecosystem by itself is too big to fail, and therefore the government needs to make these low-hanging changes in the system, because it is these startups which are getting in actual innovation and new ways of doing business. And I feel that the concept of accredited investor and removing the second aspect, which is assessment by a local officer, would go a long way of solving it. And also for the existing people who've got these orders, I think they should, because they have to, even if they appeal, they have to pay 20% of that order amount, which is huge. I think some form of clarification or some type of interim relief, if it comes out, will be good. Obviously, we and other associations, everybody has been lobbying, and iSpirit has also been lobbying on this. And we are hopeful that in the budget there should be some breathers and therefore room for improvement everywhere. And therefore, I mean, I don't think, as I said, it's too big to fail. I don't think the government will let it fail.
Well, let's see whether we do get our message across to the government. We've been trying here through CNBC TV 18 to put forward the recommendations and the suggestions that have come up from the startup ecosystem through our program, Young Turks. Well, thanks very much, gentlemen, for joining us. And here's wishing all of you the very best of luck. Keep us updated on the developments in your individual matters as well as with the petition. For now, from all of us here, goodbye. Many thanks for watching.